So, what came up in the SBR September 23 exam? Well, the answer is quite a lot. It was the first exam where question 1 had the pre-populated spreadsheet, and some students had a P&L, but other students sat an exam where there was a balance sheet. Those students doing the group P&L question had to deal with a control-to-control transaction, something that I discussed in my very last live session with my students. There was also a PARP, there was also a disposal, becoming an associate. Sounds a good question. And so was the balance sheet question, which had you calculating goodwill, which had you dealing with pensions, one of my favourite topics, but also had 4 marks on hedging. And oh my God, I know some of you absolutely hate hedging. Seemed to be a cash flow hedge. Was only for 4 marks, so maybe it wasn't too bad after all. Now, question 2 is on ethics. And many of you started with this question, which I think is good for time management. What I love about the ACCA is their originality, is their contextualization. Because some of you had a question which involved furlough, which involved employers asking employees to work despite the fact they were claiming back from the government, their wages. And the ethics around that, the ethics around homeworking and monitoring staff and lying, bosses lying about the number of hours that they were working. Really relevant stuff. So much came up in Section B. So many different accounting standards came up in Section B. Leasing was there for some people from the lessor's point of view, accounting for it as an operating lease, dealing with that initial premium as deferred income, having to spread it over the period. There was stuff on government grants with an investor focus. Other people had segmental reporting with an investor focus, just like in my mock examination. And also in Section B, for some of you, there was a question which involved a little bit of IFRS 13, a little bit of ISA 20, a little bit of ISA 37, as some land was gifted. And there was some responsibilities around that land. How do you measure the fair value of that land? How do you deal with that? Lovely question by the sound of it. Getting you to think, getting you to apply your knowledge. So what's the takeaway? If you haven't yet sat SBR, the takeaway is you have to cover the full syllabus. The takeaway is that anything can come up and it's a very time pressured exam. I can help you pass this exam. Reach out to me. But the takeaway is that if you have taken this exam, let it go. It will be marked. It will be fairly marked. And I wish you well, just like I wish England well in the Rugby World Cup. But I think you've probably got a better chance of passing your SBR than England have of winning this Rugby World Cup. Good luck, everybody. And if you did the UK or Irish variant, there was additional material on leasing. Of course there was, because leasing is done very, very differently under FRS 102. PPS. Thank you to everybody who I've spoken to and have sent me messages about what came up in the exam. I've tried to synthesize, and obviously I'm giving you a highly summarized version of what I know, even though I haven't actually seen the exams themselves. I repeat, they will be fairly marked. I repeat, if I can help you in any way, shape or form pass SBR, do not hesitate to reach out to me.